Now, does your average dinner tend to consist of a Dorito sandwich? Well, if you're lacking the time or the culinary abilities to spaff out a proper nutritious and tasty meal every evening, you might be intrigued to find out you can get a robot to do all your cooking for you. The Posha here can spaff out a breakfast, lunch or dinner on command. I've been testing it out for a couple of weeks now. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. But before we begin, unfortunately the Posha isn't available here in Blighty at the time that this video hits the wonderful hive of despair that is YouTube. Sadly at the moment it is US only with a price tag of $1,500. Which, to be fair, ain't too bad considering it's your very own private chef. And hopefully it will be available to order here in Blighty soon, as the devs kindly crossed the Atlantic to drop one off for me to check out. And also, I think it's pronounced Posha, like the car, but I'm northern and we like saying things a bit different, and because it produces posher meals than you're used to, Posha it is. Now, let's just tackle this thing first. The Posha is absolutely fucking massive. We're talking 21 inches wide, about 16 inches tall, and including the plug, around 20 inches deep, so it's going to really eat into any available counter space. And it's a proper heavy bugger as well, so not the kind of thing you want to pick up and stash away in a cupboard every time you're no longer using it, unless you're built like Jason Statham. I sadly am not built like Jason Statham. I merely have the same haircut and perpetually pissed off expression. Plus, I'm not really sure that many people would have a cupboard big enough to store this thing anyway. Now, setup is thankfully a piece of piss. Just basically sign up for a Posha account, takes literally a minute, and you're good to go. But bear in mind, you will have to sign up for a monthly Posha membership in order to access all of the features here, including updates, the full recipe list, and a good bit of customer support action as well. You can even suggest your favourite recipes for Posha to add to the list. To test that out, I did request a bit of chicken sweet and sour. Never say I'm not a man of fine culinary tastes. And sure enough, within a week, it had popped up in that recipe list. But yeah, membership is pretty much mandatory because it gives you access to all the best features, and without it, you've only got a choice of 50 recipes compared with the hundreds you've got stacked on there otherwise. So you'll have to stump up that bit of extra cash every month to really get the most out of this thing. So the Posha consists of one massive cooking dish which sits on top of an induction hob. Just slides in there like so. You've then got the mixing arm, snaps into place right there and then plugs in like so. Over here on the left side you've got 4 separate containers which are used to stash ingredients. And you also have a tray containing water and oil, both of which can be easily refilled. And then finally up top you have a rotating tray, which is where you shove all of your herbs and spices. You'll need to swap these in and out depending on what recipe you're cooking. You get a whole bunch of these bundled with the Posha, all clearly labelled and easy to refill with fresh herbs and spices from your supermarket or wherever you get them from. Now the first stage is to choose what you actually want to eat, which is much easier said than done because this thing's absolutely bloody packed with options. You've got a full alphabetical list that you can scroll through, otherwise if you run back up to the top, it's divided into all kinds of different sections. So for instance, breakfast, high protein, quick prep, got healthy meals, gluten-free, and they're also divided up into different collections and cuisines as well. And the Posha is particularly well stocked when it comes to Indian food, which I was very pleased to see because I love a curry. You've got some really good authentic options on here, as well as more simple fare if your constitution can't quite handle the good stuff. Plenty of vegetarian options as well as your standard chicken, lamb, whatever you're into. And once you've chosen a recipe, I'm going to go for a chicken vindaloo. You're told roughly how long it'll take to cook, 52 minutes in this case, and then you've got a variety of personalization options. So for instance, you can simplify a recipe which removes any optional ingredients or still produce a great tasting dish, fingers crossed. You can then customize the dish as well to make it less or more spicy, less or more salty. Personally, I go for less salty because I found that on regular salt levels it is pretty salty in general. You can change up the consistency from thick gravy to quite thin gravy, different levels of oiliness, sweetness. And I also really like that you can favorite any recipes that you want to try out or that you really enjoyed. And then these are nice and easy to access again. All you need to do is go back to the main page and tap the wee heart icon up at the top here. And there's all the dishes that you've favorited. And then once you've got it all set up, you need to select the serving size. Personally, I always go for one more than I actually need. So if I'm cooking for 2 of us, I'll select 3. Because personally, I've got quite a big appetite. I'm a northern lad. And I found that the Posha was always a wee bit stingy with those servings. And then thankfully you are led through every step that you need to personally perform, which isn't that much at all. So for instance, you're told exactly which kind of spatula you need to attach to the spinny arm thing, all the ingredients you'll need to prepare, and exactly how much of each. And if there are any extra steps involved, these will be clearly indicated with illustrations, sometimes even a bit of video action. But most of the recipes I tried out simply involved chopping stuff up and then bunging it into those clear plastic pots. Kind of a shame that Posha can't do this stage for you as well. You will have to actually get your hands a wee bit dirty. You can actually do all this prep work the night before or in the morning, or whenever you've actually got a spare moment. You can chop up all those bits, shove them in the plastic containers, and then shove these into the fridge to keep everything fresh. Otherwise, the Posha also offers a prep while cooking option, so you can continue the prep work as the Posha is actually cooking your meal for you. Now, the Posha doesn't blindly cook the food based on built-in timings or anything like that. It actually uses a combination of a top-down camera and AI smarty pants shenanigans to monitor the food as it's cooking, including the color of your meat, the thickness of the sauce, etc. And it can then adjust the timings to match. You can follow along the progress of your meal on the touchscreen or also on the Posha app. This is available right now for iOS and Android, even here in the UK. Unfortunately, it's not always perfectly synced up. There does tend to be a discrepancy in the remaining time, with the app usually lagging behind a good minute or so. And if there are any problems at all, you will be alerted not only via app notifications, but also a bloody loud scary noise from the Posha itself. So for instance, if the mixing arm accidentally gets disconnected or something like that, everything will just pause, you'll be informed, and as soon as it's sorted out, cooking will resume. But the only time I had any problem in cooking about a dozen dishes or so with this thing was when I forgot to fill the water tray. And as long as there aren't any issues, it's very hands off. You just basically get it going and then leave the Posha to do its thing while you bugger off and watch the footy or play on the Xbox, or I don't know, maybe spend some time with the family if you're so inclined. And then once it's done, you can basically just disconnect the mixing arm, whip out the dish, and dinner's bloody served. I've tried a variety of different cuisines from this thing: pasta dishes, Chinese dishes, curries, even some more outlandish stuff that I wouldn't ordinarily go for. And I've got to say, the majority of the dishes that the Posha has cooked for me and for my family been absolutely bang on. My daughter's pretty picky in general, but she loved the pasta dishes. She even enjoyed the curries. The fact that you can customize exactly how salty and how spicy, etc. the dishes are means that everyone's basically happy. Did find it takes some minor experimenting at times just to get things just the way you like it, but overall, great stuff. This thing cooks delicious meals that honestly I'd be happy paying for in a restaurant. And when we're talking about dishes like some curries which take over an hour to cook, you know, that saves you an hour of sitting there just stirring, constantly checking things. It's amazing how much time it really frees up, although of course you do still have to do all the chopping and prep work and then the cleanup operation afterwards. But thankfully that too is a piece of piss, as every bit of the Posha that comes into contact with food can be removed, bunged in the dishwasher, and then just shove it back into place once it's all nice and clean. And once the Posha has cooked for you, you can provide feedback on every single meal, 1 to 5 stars, suggesting any refinements. And as I said before, you can also request specific meals to be added to that list based on recipes you enjoy or just stuff you've seen people cook on the likes of YouTube. And there is also a co-pilot mode on here as well, which you can activate to just keep your food warm and also give it a continuous stir. Pretty handy if you're not quite ready when the food is. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell, and a very tasty wee nutshell indeed, is the fresh new Posha Robo-Chef. Here's hoping it comes to the UK soon, because it's an absolutely genius time saver and a fantastic way of preparing delicious, healthy meals, especially if you've got all the culinary skills of Thomas the Tank Engine. Anyway, it'd be great to hear what you think down in the comments below. Please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you! Now the Posha actually consists... that was f***ing dreadful.